welcome to the Brands Hatch Indy Circuit, where the sun is shining for the first race meeting of the 2016 Radical SR1Cup. Now in its fourth season, this fast and exciting championship continues to attract new drivers. So Peter, your first race meeting, how are you feeling?
I'm looking forward to it, yeah. It's my first ever race. I've never raced any other car, but we've had some good preparation at the two official test days here and at Cadwell. So, yeah, looking forward to a proper race.
Why did you decide to get into racing then? You say you've never done it before.
Boyhood dream, really, and I retired a few years ago, so I thought I've got the time and a bit of money, so it's something I should do.
And what was it particularly about Radical that appealed to you?
I think value for money, and it's a lovely looking car.
Well, I'm really excited. I've been testing for a good couple of days now, so I'm feeling ready. I'm definitely feeling nervous. I sort of know what I've got to go and do out there. So we're just going to see, but I just can't wait to get out. I think we've got about 10 minutes before the session starts, and I just wish I was there now. So it's either buy this car or buy a new road car, and I saw an advert, I think, in Autosport for Radicals. And I went to YouTube and had a look at the racing, and I thought, well, how hard could that be? Like, you know, so I called Radical up, bought the car. I'd never been in one. Went down to Bedford Autodrome, and one of their drivers took me out for a lap, and I was just like, oh my God, this is so fast. And since then, I've just been trying to get caught up with that driver, but I definitely made the right choice, but it's a challenge. It's awesome.
Yeah, really looking forward today. We had a good test day on Friday, and things looking good. Car's in good shape. So looking forward to getting out there and seeing what we can do.
I feel a bit excited, you know, it's my first race ever, so you know, I'm just gonna try to stay on the track all the time, that's it.
What's your experience then in terms of racing? Have you done anything before?
Just some couple of track days and that's it.
Wow, okay. So what was it about the Radical series that you particularly liked?
I like the car, I tried Caterham and many others, and I decided for this one. It's quite nice, fast and, you know, reliable.
So thank you very much for joining us on this Race Television live race day from Motorsport Vision Racing here on the Brands Hatch Indy Circuit. We've got a full programme to look forward to over the course of the day, and coming up next, it's the first of a brace of races from the Radical SR1Cup. We'll then be taking a short pause, and then we've got plenty of action from about 3:20 this afternoon with the Monoposto F3 2-litre and classic class cars, the second race from the Toyo Tyres Production BMW Championship, the second race from the Radical SR1Cup, second race, and then another race from the JMP Monoposto 1800, 1600, Moto 1400, Moto 1 litres, and then the concluding race from the F3 Cup due to get underway at about 5:35. But now let's turn our attention to the Radical SR1 Cup, and delighted to be joined by the championship coordinator for the SR1 Cup, Roger Green. And Roger, could you explain a little bit more to people who've maybe not seen this before what the Radical SR1 Cup is all about? Okay. Sorry to interrupt you, Roger, but I think we've got a technical problem, so we're going to have to do that all over again with this one.
Hopefully this one works. I was just saying, this is the first round of this year's SR1 Cup, and it's the fourth season that we've run it now, and it's introduction into motorsport. So we not only provide a car for you to go racing, but the whole package as well to take you from track days through onto the grid for the first time. So we give you all the training that you might need before you start. So we have some exclusive test days. We teach you how to get off the line cleanly. We get you your license, get you a race suit, and so by the time that we get to this time of year, you should hopefully be ready to go. You can do the championship for 2 years, so you'll see a mix of first timers out this afternoon, and also people who have been doing it for a year, so that's always quite interesting as well, because you see the progress from year 1 to year 2, and also mixing it with people who are on the grid for the first time, and actually this afternoon the front row, which is very unusual, is actually taken up by first-year drivers.
Yeah, my notes from that I've been provided would suggest that Oliver Barker has been very quick, our pole sitter, in pre-season testing, and he has played that pace into the first race of the year. He shares the front row of the grid with James Taylor, and then the second row of the grid we've got Rob Elise and Sam Moores from Kai Wheatley and Tony Barwell. And as we've seen over the past 3 seasons with the Radical SR1 Cup, it's an excellent platform for drivers to learn their racecraft, learn about sport prototype racing, and then move up through the Radical Motorsport ladder.
Yeah, that's right. And yesterday we had SR3 Challenge races, and if you look at the grid that we had then, we had 30 cars out on the grid yesterday, and almost half of those guys have come through the SR1 Cup. So it really is a good sort of breeding ground, if you like, for guys who wanted to get on track and get racing and work their way through. In the first year of the championship back in 2013, we had a certain Chris Hoy on the grid with us as well, and today he's at Imola in an LMP2 car with his last race before he goes to Le Mans. So it also shows the ladder can take you all the way to Le Mans. You know, some of the guys are here just to have fun, just to enjoy their racing. Some of them want to start out and progress it further.
Well, our inaugural champion as well, Colin Noble, is now racing for Radical International GT Open, and he has again very quickly progressed through the motorsport ladder to the top levels of international racing. It is going to be a 20-minute race for the Radical SR1 Cup, and the cars begin to form up onto the grid now. So to run you through that grid in full, Oliver Barker and James Taylor are on the front row of the grid. Then we've got Rob Elise and Sam Moores on row 2 from Kai Wheatley and Tony Barwell. Then Spencer Bourne and Peter Brooks, with Christian Olsen and Richard Baxter completing the top 10. Row 6 is Andy Chittenden and Marco Nixick, and then it's Paul Pearce and Peter Devlin on the 7th row, just clear of James Holder. And I think one of the things that I really like about the Radical SR1 Cup is that I'm struggling to think of a purpose-built entry-level racing car that offers the performance that the Radical SR1 Cup car does. It really is a very quick piece of kit.
Yeah, it's all part of the package that we designed. Obviously, the car is an integral part of that. It's a lightweight sports car. It's powered by an engine based on the Suzuki Hayabusa engine, so very reliable, lightweight, lots of revs, lots of fun, and you'll see that the lap times are very quick. It might be a novice championship, but the front row in qualifying, they were both under 50 seconds, which is very quick around here.
Yeah, that pole position time for Oliver Barker was a 49.055, which compares very well to a lot of other championships that you might come across. So the countdown procedure is underway. They will have a green flag lap to get a little bit of sighting done, but of course these are Brands Hatch minutes that we're running to, and therefore the 30-second board appears about 15 seconds after the 1-minute board was shown to the drivers. So Oliver Barker on the front row of the grid, well, you can pick him out because he has got all red headlight covers, whereas the man he shares the front row with, James Taylor, it's a blue and red headlight cover. Third place car, Rob Elise, that is the predominantly orange machine. And then Sam Moores is as per James Taylor's entry, except that Sam has a black helmet. So away they go on the green flag formation lap. And Roger, where are the really key points around this circuit for the drivers to watch for?
Well, obviously, getting off the line is the first thing that these guys have got to do. For a lot of them, it's their first proper race start. We came here a couple of months ago and did some practices, but of course, that was without the pressure of it being an actual race. So getting the cars off the line is going to be the first thing. And then into paddock, Hill Bend, obviously, all the cars will be converging there at the same time. They're all got to be looking out for their own space. These cars are quite small, though, so compared to some of the other ones that we produce, there's plenty of room for people to find their way around. And then, obviously, if you get a good run out of paddock, then it's up to Druids. And, again, that will be a good overtaking spot for these cars.
So this is the opportunity for the drivers just to see how this championship is going to unfold. as just to get a little bit of heat into the tyres on the formation lap. As turn through Surtees and then out of Clearways and Clark Curve. In a 20-lap race, unless we don't get the intrusion of a safety car here, we're going to be looking at something in the region of 23, 24 laps. And Oliver Barker just slowing the field. He doesn't want to be waiting too long on the grid because you're on the Brands Hatch start and finish straight, which first of all isn't a straight at all. Secondly, it undulates somewhat, and actually pole position, you're pointing uphill on a curve, and therefore the longer you wait there, the more tricksy that start becomes. It's often said that fourth place is where you want to be on the side-by-side start, and that's where Sam Moores is. So watch for Sam and his progress from the outside of row 2. The last few rows on the grid, slotting into position after a fashion. We've got Marko Niksic, who is just looking to find his grid marking. When you're a new driver, I certainly did when I started my racing career, you're consumed by nerves on the formation lap not to lose face by making sure you don't lose your grid hatching. But they've all done it now, so we get the green flag for the marshal at the rear of the field. The 5-second board is shown to the drivers. The red lights are on now. The revs rise. Who's going to get the jump? And away we go. It's a great start from the outside of the front row of the grid from James Taylor. It's also a brilliant start from Tony Barwell in car 15. Also well away is Kai Wheatley as they turn down through Paddock Hill Bend. And exactly as we feared, the pole sitter was a little bit slow away. Sam Moores was also slow away, but leading the way it is James Taylor. Second place is Oliver Barker as they jostle uphill and then through Druids. Into third it's Kai Wheatley. And then in fourth it's Robert Leese. So looking to make a little bit of ground and being quite speculative. That's Spencer Bourne in car 6, who has gained a lot of space in these early stages of the race. Already the leading trio trying to break clear as they swoop through Surtees around Clearways. Peter Brooks trying to make ground as well. But for James Taylor, this has been an absolutely perfect first lap as he sprints along the Brabham Straight. He takes out the first lap of the race, leads the way from Barker. Third place is Kai Wheatley, fourth Robert Leese. In fifth place we've got Spencer Bourne, sixth place is Barwell, seventh Brooks, eighth is Chittenden, and the driver who's really lost out from all of this is Sam Moores, who's dropped all the way to ninth position.
Yes, that's right. So out front we have got the two new drivers, which is a great start for James Taylor. I know, speaking to him before the race, he was very nervous about getting off the line, but he did it absolutely perfectly. So all those nerves worked for him in that respect, and he made a little break. So the front two in qualifying were a little bit ahead of the rest of the field. So we expect those two to be having a good dice together, and then pretty much everybody else will be right behind them vying for third place, and that's already what's happening.
Lap 2 of the race reeled off, and now our pole sitter Oliver Barker starting to come back at James Taylor. From the pace of qualifying, you would suggest that Barker has got a tenth of a second to lap over Taylor, and indeed that's exactly what it was last time round. But there you start to see why the Radical SR1 Cup is so important already. James Taylor just starting to drive with his mirrors. He preemptively moved to the inside line, and we've got a car in trouble, and that is Spencer Bourne. And sadly for him, there is a Bourne identity because he is buried in the gravel trap, and he isn't actually too far from the periphery of the circuit, so we might be at risk of seeing the intervention of a safety car here, which, if nothing else, is very good news for Sam Moores, who lost so much ground on that first lap. Anyway, they shoot through, and yes, the safety car is indeed out, so the safety car board is shown to drivers. I'm not sure it quite caught the leaders, but they will be well informed of that fairly quickly. At the point at which the safety car came out, Taylor and Barker out front have got a 3.5 second advantage over Kai Wheatley. They're absolutely flying, and again on that previous lap Oliver Barker had got another tenth of a second chipped away at James Taylor. But of course, Roger has been saying, for these new drivers, the start's one thing. They've now got the potential, well, they've got the challenge, it's not a potential challenge, it is an actual challenge of their first safety car restart.
Absolutely, they're getting it all thrown at them today, so they'll be very experienced racers by the end of this 20-minute race. But obviously it gives a chance for the whole field to bunch back up and for everybody to take breath a little bit. Behind the front two, you've then got a clutch of guys who have been racing last year. Kai Wheatley and Rob Ellis, both good friends with each other, so that should be quite interesting to see when this race gets underway again, how they battle it out. I don't think there'll be any quarter article given between those two. And then Tony Barwell, who's been doing very well today. He's made some great strides from last year and finding himself towards the front of the grid now, which is great to see. And Peter Brooks just behind him.
Of course, unfortunately for Spencer Bourne, the challenge that he had was learning about the aerodynamic grip of these cars, but then also the mechanical grip. And Paddock Hill Bend is one of those corners where each and every lap you're doing battle with the laws of physics, and unfortunately Spencer has just slid in sideways. His car will be winched clear. In terms of a time check, we are approaching 1/4 race distance. We're on the 5th lap of the race, and already the field had begun to spread just a little bit, so this is the opportunity for it to bunch up. In particular, I think for Kai Wheatley and Rob Ellis, if they may have discussed working together prior to the race, they might just want to have a cessation of hostilities, see if they could stay with that leading duo for a lap or two, and if not, then they can get busy with disputing 3rd place. Otherwise, they might just try and stick in tandem. Running down the order then, our race leader is James Taylor, 2nd place Oliver Barker, 3rd place Kai Wheatley, 4th is Rob Ellis, 5th is Tony Barwell, in 6th place it is Peter Brooks, 7th place is Andy Chitterton, 8th place is Sam Moores, 9th place we've got Richard Baxter. Completing the top 10 is Christian Olsen, and then 11th place Paul Pearce, 12th place Marco Nixick, 13th place is number 3 James Holder, and 14th place is car number 5, and that is Peter Devlin. We're probably going to have this lap, I think that might just be it behind the safety car, because the car of Spencer Bourne has been moved right out to the periphery of the gravel trap. The snatch vehicle about to recover back behind the barrier, and therefore the pack of Radical SR1s about to be released. It's been really nice as well to see this year, Roger, the SR1s cropping up now in the Radical Challenge Championship.
Yes, that's right. So after you've done 2 years of the SR1 Cup, you can still race these cars in the challenge. We give you slick tyres for that, so you're more close to the pace of the SR3s, and you can battle with those. And yeah, it's good to see them. But we're about to take the restart by the look of it, and James Taylor is backing everybody up.
At what point will James Taylor pull the pin? And he's clearly done his homework, or has he? He's going to be racing the safety car, and he backs out of it, and that's going to give the opportunity for Oliver Barker to try and draw alongside as the pair of them go green once more, and Barker unleashing the move almost immediately towards Paddock Hill Bend. He looks to challenge. Taylor covers the middle of the road, and that gives Kai Wheatley and Rob Ellis the chance to join in as well, and Barker knows this is a golden opportunity to pounce. Taylor moves to the inside and proves that if you position the car well enough on this Brands Hatch Indy circuit, it's very hard to find a way through. And certainly for the neutral, you want to see this performance from Taylor continuing, because it's going to give us an absolutely fantastic race behind. But already Wheatley having to defend as well from Rob Ellis, as the field slingshot through Surtees in towards Clearways. And this has actually been a very good response from James Taylor after a slightly trepidatious first half to this lap. He has responded well through the second half of it. Good scrap going on for 3rd, still between Wheatley and Ellis. The same for 5th place, Barwell and Brooks, and it is Tony Barwell who is clear as has a lovely shot as they come down through Paddock Hill Bend. It just shows, Roger, that the driver's just beginning to get to the limits of the aerodynamic grip.
Yeah, they don't look like novices, do they? They're driving brilliantly, the pair up front, and we seem to now have racing in pairs. So we've got the front two, and then we've got 3rd and 4th battling away, and also a fight for 5th as well. So it's really heating up now with about 12 minutes to go.
So approaching half race distance now. What is the response here that Oliver Barker has got to the race leader, James Taylor. Meanwhile, the fight for third and fourth about to well and truly come alive, because Kai Wheatley has got Rob Ellis tucked up right behind him as the pair of them sprint along the Brabham Straight towards Paddock Hill Bend. And Ellis fancies this. He launches the move to the inside line and is able to convert up into third position for Rob Ellis. Now, can Kai Wheatley fight back? Ellis moves across, covers the inside line as the pair of them climb towards Drewis. Wheatley tries to squeeze him, but Rob Ellis knows exactly where he needs to be for Druids, and that is at the inside, as there's no way past for Wheatley. Again, the same at Graham Hill Bend. But it's often the case that it's somewhat easier to follow than it is to defend. So Rob Ellis, having found a way past, has now got to make sure he doesn't over-consult his mirrors as Kai Wheatley looks to fight back.
That's right, it's a great scrap between these two. And we get this all the way through the season. We get really close racing. The SR1s do tend to promote that with the tyres that we use and the aerodynamics. There's enough aero on the cars that you can feel the grip when you go through a high-speed corner, but not so much that it upsets the balance when you're following, as you can see with the lead two now fighting over first place.
This is a lovely race, isn't it? Because fortunes are fluctuating corner by corner, and now we have got Oliver Barker, car number 22, in pursuit of the race leader. That's number 2, James Taylor. A pair of them run along the Cooper Straight. 2 Radical SR1 cars covered by about 3 car lengths as they swing through Surtees. And Oliver Barker in second place just would appear to be that little bit more ruthless in the way that he's placing the car around the circuit, whereas James Taylor is very quick, but he is just not quite as consistent in the way that Barker has become over the past couple of laps. They crossed the line in exactly half race distance, and that last time around Barker was in fact 0.3 of a second quicker than James Taylor. Taylor again covers the inside line as they climb up towards Druids. Meanwhile, in the fight for third, Rob Ellis easing clear of Kai Wheatley, and Wheatley has now got Sam Moores beginning to close up onto his tail. Sam Moores rather. Peter Brooks closing up onto his tail, with then Tony Barwell demoted into 6th place. Andy Chittenden is in 7th. It is Andy Chittenden we follow at the moment. He has got Sam Moores, car 23, snapping at his heels. A little bit of a gap back to Richard Baxter as well. The leaders about to reel off their 11th lap of the race. They flashed through, and on that occasion there was absolutely nothing that Barker could do about Taylor. And Taylor, though, runs wide through Paddock Hill Bend. This is the best opportunity of the race so far. Oh, that's very, very close. Well defended from James Taylor. And Taylor keeps the power down and has got the track positions. They come towards Graham Hill Bend. Really nice driving from both of them, and also extols one of the virtues of the Radical SR1Cup, which is the racing is very close, but it's very clean and fair too.
Absolutely, it's terrific racing, and they're now catching up with some buck markers as well, which might add another dimension into this mix. Obviously it'll be Taylor who gets to them first, which he is now. See if he can work his way through without being held up by these two.
And that's very fair and clean driving by James Holder. He moves aside, gives plenty of racing room to both our race leaders, neither of them really gaining advantage, but Taylor again a little bit of a wobble through Paddock Hill Bend. This time around though he moves across, covers the inside line nice and early as he runs alongside the car of Oliver Barker. Barker, our pole sitter, but he got jumped off the line by James Taylor, and thereafter Taylor has done an absolutely formidable job of keeping Barker at bay. The pair of them run nose to tail once more along the Cooper Straight. The laps being reeled off with mesmeric rapidity as we are on lap 13. We've got just under 8 minutes left on the clock, so they've still got time, 10 or so more laps, plenty of an opportunity to sort themselves out. But it's been through Paddock Hill Bend on these last few occasions where James Taylor has had a wobble or two. Race leaders a long way clear of the fight for third place. It's Peter Devlin and James Holder battling a little bit lower down the order, and they have got Rob Ellis coming up to lap them. The two leaders though coming down out of Druids, still very close, as Ellis, does he complete the lappery? Yes he does, and Kai Wheatley also able to follow through, so they don't particularly lose any ground through the traffic. But what's been really fascinating, Roger, is the two leaders, they've been battling so hard, but they've built up an enormous advantage, best part of 10 seconds over the fight for third.
Yeah, they have. I mean, these two are driving really fast. In qualifying, they were about a second ahead of the field, but also under any time that we've seen before in an SR1 around here. So for two new drivers to be doing that is incredible. And obviously, they're racing clean as well as racing fast and right next to each other the whole way around. Oliver Barker has been doing quite a lot of track days and testing in the build up to this. He's had far more track time than Taylor has, who spends his day as a journalist for Car Magazine, so he spends a lot of time in cars, but not necessarily radicals.
No, and this, at the moment, is probably a cover feature-worthy performance, because he is driving supremely well, because you shouldn't discount the mental effort that's required. If you think sometimes how tired you might be after driving along the motorway for an hour or so, now imagine all the concentration plus all the physical forces going on around you in the car, and that really takes some doing. I've heard it described as taking an exam on a treadmill before, and that's really what it's like, because you're always thinking about what are your rivals doing, where's your car strong, where it's not so strong, how can you compensate, what can you do differently. Again, it's up towards Druids, where Barker is that little bit stronger than James Taylor, but Taylor gets the exit from Druids to perfection on this occasion, builds up a couple of car lengths. They've got some traffic, which is a second or two up the road ahead of them. That might be a little bit of a factor for them to consider. We've got just over a quarter of the race remaining, and victory is far from settled as they turn through out of Clark Curve, and this has been one of James Taylor's best laps of the race, and he has bought himself, I would suggest, a tenth or two second over James Taylor. In the rest of the order then, Rob Ellis is third, Kai Wheatley is fourth, in fifth place it's Peter Brooks, sixth place we've got Tony Barwell, seventh place is Andy Chitterton, eighth place is Sam Moores, ninth place is Richard Baxter, and currently completing the top 10 is Christian Olsen, and we are watching Christian Olsen chasing Richard Baxter at the moment. Baxter the car with the black nose cone, Olsen just behind in the tail of the train with the black side panels of the car. And this is also, Roger, one of the great characteristics of the Radical SR1Cup. Whatever level you come in, with your aspiration, there is always somebody to race with.
Yes, and we've been focusing on the front too, but all the way down the field there's some very close battles going on, and this is always what we see with the SR1 Cup. Sam Moores, they're getting a bit sideways coming out of Graham Hill Bend, but you'll see that everybody's really close and fighting for position all the way through the field. We've got a car spin at Paddock Hill, just trying to work out who that is up there.
It's a car that's gone off at Druids, and I hope they fire up because they are right in the middle of the road. Got a sneaking suspicion. We'll find out momentarily. I hope that that doesn't bring a premature halt to proceedings, because we are into the last 4 minutes or so of the race. Unless that car can get fired up, it is going to require a little bit of retrieval. I'm going to go with James Holder possibly, because he hasn't come through the last couple of laps. Meanwhile, the two leaders arrive at Paddock Hill Bend. The car that did spin is back underway, I'm pleased to report, so we should be able to go through to the flag uninterrupted. The race leaders are side by side going to Druids, and this is the run that Barker has needed, and he makes the move on Taylor, or does he? Around he goes! Oliver Barker leads the race for all of a metre and a half. He makes a fantastic recovery, but he was just a little bit over ambitious with the momentum he could carry through Druids, and now James Taylor can breathe a big sigh of relief. Well, he had to try it, Oliver Barker, and this is what the learning process in motorsport is all about.
Yeah, it is. It was a great attempt. He saw it. He saw his one chance. He's been stacked behind James Taylor for the whole race this time. He got down the inside, braked as late as he dared, and as it turned out, it was just a fraction too late, unfortunately, for him. But as you say, this is all part of the learning curve. It's their first race, and you can train as much as you like and get the lap times down and work on the lap times, but actually when it comes to battling with your opponent, it's a whole different ballgame.
Amazingly though, Oliver Barker only lost 2.5 seconds with that spin at Druids. Shows how keyed up he was to get going. Meanwhile, Christian Olsen has found a way past Richard Baxter, so Olsen gains the place. He moves up into 8th place. Baxter slips down into 9th position. exactly 2 minutes remaining on the race clock, as the fight for third and fourth has come together through Druids. They head along the Cooper Straight, and that is a really good scrap for third position at the moment. Turning into Surtees, will pick it up momentarily as the race leaders go past us to start their penultimate lap. The fight for third, here it is, and Rob Ellis has got Kai Wheatley looking every which way to come past him, and Wheatley's got a great opportunity now to draw alongside Rob Ellis as they arrive into Paddock Hill Bend, and Wheatley fancies this. Has he got the momentum? Ellis goes deep, runs wide. Wheatley's going to look for the switchback as they climb up Hellwood Hill towards Druids. He's squeezed by Rob Ellis, well defended. Rob Ellis and Kai Wheatley knowing better than to force the issue. Make sure that they avoid contact and hold station, but they are rapidly running out of time. There is 65 seconds left on the race clock. Here is our race leader, and is James Taylor going to sweep through to go into the last lap? No, he's not. We're going to just squeeze 2 more laps out of this one, which is really good news unless you're Rob Ellis, because we've got another car in trouble. It's Christian Olsen at the foot of Paddock Hill Bend, and we've got to change for the lead. No, it's a red flag, so the race has been red flagged, and that would be with Christian Olsen static at the foot of Paddock Hill Bend. The race has been stopped. A great pity, because that was absolutely fantastic. So in terms of provisional classification then, it was victory for James Taylor, second place for Oliver Barker. Rob Ellis completes the podium from Kai Wheatley in 5th place, Peter Brooks 6th place, Tony Barwell in 7th place, Andy Giston 8th place is going to be Richard Baxter, 9th place for Sam Moores, and completing the top 10, Marco Nixick. Well, Roger, can't wait for race 2 later on. That was an absolutely brilliant start to the SR1Cup season.
Yeah, it was. It was a bit of a shame to end it with a red flag, a bit of an anticlimax there, but all the way through the race it was absolutely fantastic. Obviously up at the front we had Oliver Barker chasing James Taylor and attempting that one pass up at Druids, which didn't quite come off, but we're all set fair for another great race later this afternoon. Behind them, Rob Ellis and Kai Wheatley battling all the way from lights to, well, red flag. And as you say, behind them, Peter Brooks and Tony Barwell. Again, another battle. So we'll resume with this a bit later on when we've got another race.
And, well, the optimism of the drivers to try and reassemble on the grid for a restart, unfortunately, is to be dashed. So conclusion of this race. So I am going to take a short pause for now, but don't go anywhere, because in a few moments time we will be able to go down to the podium and Michelle Livings to talk to our top 3 drivers. But from myself and Evans and Roger Green in the commentary box, we'll see you a little bit later on this afternoon.
In a reverse order, and so handshakes all around. So let's get our 3rd place driver onto the podium, number 12 Rob Ellis onto the podium. Well done, many congratulations. And James from MSBR is there with a trophy to present it to a very happy 3rd place. Rob Ellis makes his way onto the podium, all smiles. We've got a 2nd place trophy which will be presented to the driver of car number 22, Oliver Barker. Well done, Oliver, congratulations. Makes his way onto the 2nd step of the podium, and the Radical SR1Cup trophy with the Radical logo there is placed in the hands of Rob Ellis. And then to our winner, James Taylor. Congratulations, James. All smiles as James from MSVR makes the presentation of the biggest of the 3 Radical R trophies. Well done to all 3 of them. They smile and they'll bunch up together on the top step of the podium so we can get a nice close photograph of all 3 of them, and then we get the chance to have a chat to them as well.
Because this is, oh no, you've got to do another interview now. This is what happens, you see, when you get on the podium. So James Taylor, not only a first win, but first race
Almost first race. First race in a Radical. I've done 2 races before in Ginettas, and then this is my 3rd race ever, so almost first race.
Yeah, I mean, still pretty good going. So tell us about racing in this particular car, in the Radical.
It's just fantastic fun. It's honestly the most fun car I've ever driven. It's so lively and so tail happy, but at the same time, it feels almost more like driving a kart than a car. It's because you're so low, the steering's so fast. It's just brilliant fun.
Fantastic. You seem like a very, very happy man right now.
I really am. Yeah.
You're on the verge of crying, bless him. Really emotional.
Well, I would like to dedicate this win to my dad. He sadly lost his life a few weeks ago, and I know he'd have been thrilled to see this. So this one's for my dad.
Yeah, that's absolutely, definitely. I'm sure he is so proud of you. So congratulations. Thank you. So there you go, James, who won that race. Definitely a first. I know that for a fact. Oliver, come down here and say hi. Hello. So this first time racing?
First race ever, yeah.
Amazing. How was it for you? Because there was some action going on there. You had a great battle going on with James.
I didn't have the best start, so I got dropped down into 2nd position, and I was chasing all the way. Got a good overtake through paddock and up to Druids. Unfortunately, spun the car at Druids after I'd done the hard work, which lost me quite a few seconds. Managed to catch back up to him, but couldn't get past him in the end. So.
Yeah, but fantastic, and it must have been pretty exhilarating, especially with that spin going on in there.
It was a great race, yeah. It was very exciting, and the team Raw Motorsport did a good job putting the car together. So yeah, it was good to drive.
Yeah. What are you thinking, sort of tactics-wise, for race number 2 this afternoon?
I think we've just got to nail the start. That'll help.
Yeah.
And then
no spinning.
Just keep no spinning. that would also help. Just keep calm and just carry on doing what we're doing, really, with just minus some mistakes.
Well, do you know what? I think you've done phenomenally well, considering it's your first time out on the track.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. Yeah.
Brilliant. All right, well, we'll be seeing more of Oliver and James, but there's one more person to speak to, and that's Rob here. So yeah, you're on the podium. How was that? I mean, I know you had a bit of competition there from the newbies.
Yeah, they're embarrassing. This is our 2nd season. We're supposed to find this easy and be at the front. These guys are quick and very quick. They're class of their own at the moment, which must try harder, I guess.
Has that made you sort of rethink your tactics for the next race?
Well, it did. I mean, we were up at the couple of the test days, and I mean, they were sharp. Like, really? Oh dear. Whoops. It's not going to be quite as easy this season as we thought. But I mean, these guys driving very well. I had a brilliant race with Kai. And
there was a lot of close racing, loads of battles right throughout the 15 cars. Amazing.
It is. I mean, it's such a fantastic series. I mean, the cars are brilliant. They're just such good fun to drive. As I say, that they are lively, but they're just brilliant fun, and it's a great championship.
Yeah, super. Well done. Well done to all 3 drivers. So there you go. There is another race coming up for the Radical SR1Cup this afternoon. Loads more racing, in fact, and we will be covering a lot of it live on RaceTV. So please do stay with us.